As the US-Israel war on Iran entered day 7, US President Donald Trump says that he must play a role in choosing the country's next leader. He also dismissed the possibility of late Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's son succeeding his father. Trump said he would ensure the next leader will not threaten the US and its neighbors in West Asia. In an interview to Axios, Trump also said he had to be involved in the appointment of the next Iranian leader, like with Delcy Rodriguez in Venezuela.
The United States will ensure that whoever leads the country next, Iran will not threaten America or its neighbors, Israel, anybody.
Urging Iranian diplomats to defect and seek asylum, Trump called on Iran's military forces to surrender and accept immunity.
And I'm once again calling on all members of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the military and the police, to lay down their arms. They're only going to be killed. And now is the time to stand up for the Iranian people and help take back your country. You're going to have a chance after all these years to take back your country, accept immunity.
Responding to questions on the scope of the war and Iranian leadership, U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth defended Trump's plan.
Well, there's no expansion. Ultimately, I think the president's having a heck of a say in who runs Iran, given the ongoing operation we have. So there's no expansion in our objectives. We know exactly what we're trying to achieve. I think today's a great example of what this War Department is capable of doing.
To discuss more, we were earlier joined by Nadir Hashmi. He's Associate Professor of Middle East and Islamic Politics at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. Here's what he had to say.
Well, I think it's very unlikely unless you decimate and bomb the country into smithereens so that it no longer exists, allowing the United States to then step in and determine who's going to lead it. But this recent statement by Donald Trump is actually quite interesting and revealing because on the one hand, he says he wants to determine Iran's next supreme leader, which presupposes the existing political system would remain in place, and Trump wants to simply determine who's going to lead it. But then in the same sort of breath, he says that the people of Iran should rise up and take over the regime and soldiers should give up. And he talks about freedom for the Iranian people. So the question is, which one is it? Does Donald Trump really care about the Iranian people? And if he does, why is he talking about the next supreme leader that he wants to have a say in? So that's one point. Second of all, it's completely delusional for Donald Trump to think he can appoint the next supreme leader. He seems to be confused about where Iran is located geographically. Iran is not Venezuela. Iran is not located in Latin America. It's located in the Middle East. It's a very different country. And Donald Trump clearly has the Venezuela model in mind. And he's somewhat baffled why the Iranian leadership hasn't capitulated and surrendered like the leadership in Venezuela. So this just highlights what we all know. This is a very unprofessional American government, and it often acts in very delusional ways. Well, look, what you've said is true. This is a very brutal and very repressive regime. I have argued that it's one of the most brutal regimes in the entire world based on its human rights record. Iran ranks #1 in the world for state-sanctioned executions. Last year, it executed almost 2,000 people. Arguably, China executes more people, but we don't have official figures from China. And then in January, the Islamic Republic of Iran committed a horrific mass slaughter in 48 hours when there was mass popular protest. So yes, it is an unpopular regime. But what's happening right now is quite revealing because of an external attack and because of the bombing campaign that has now killed over 1,200 people, including 168 girls at a school in southern Iran. Public opinion in Iran is starting to shift. And this naturally happens whenever there's an external attack. Eventually, nationalism kicks in. Even though people might hate the regime, there is a sense of patriotism and nationalism where the hatred for the regime starts to take a backseat to the aggression and the bombing campaign from an external power. And so the longer this war drags on, ironically, the Islamic Republic of Iran doesn't get weaker, it actually gets stronger. And that's directly as a result of this misguided and morally defensible series of policies that Donald Trump is pursuing, of course, backed not just by Benjamin Netanyahu, who, let's not forget, is an indicted war criminal who's provided over an ongoing genocide in Gaza. But these policies in Iran are also backed by most Western countries. And so it's ironically having this opposite effect. On the one hand, people want the Islamic Republic to topple, but this bombing campaign is actually, I think, allowing the regime to persist and actually get stronger.